Would I be wrong then I made an argument to an atheist along that lines and pointed out that if there is no God, then there is no real anchored meaning in life. Therefore, he had no grounds according to his worldview, that is atheism, that there is no God, there are no moral absolutes, there are no more, well, he might want moral absolutes, but there's no absolute, which meant if I wanted to self-actualize myself as a Christian and have my delusion, as Dawkins calls it, and that makes me a better person, it doesn't bother him and I don't hurt him, that's an equally valid option for me. That all options and all worldviews are equally valid if atheism is true.
Yeah, well, if atheism is true, you have no basis for propositional truth. You have no, true statements. You have no basis for absolute truth. I mean, absolute truth. If everything, consistent atheists are materialists. They're physicalists. They believe everything that exists is physical. Well, absolute truths are not physical. You can't pick them up. You can't throw them. How much do they weigh? I mean, a tree is not an absolute truth. But if there's a tree over there and I point at it, then the statement, that is a tree, would be an absolute truth. But the statement, that is a tree, you can't weigh it. It's not a physical thing. And so the crazy thing is, if atheistic materialism is true, okay, if atheistic materialism is true, then atheism could not be true. Okay, so so there has to be a spiritual basis for truth, at least a non-material basis for truth for anything to be true. Now some atheists might turn around and say, okay, well, I'm an atheist and I do believe in absolute truth. Well, now you're starting to acknowledge the existence of non-material entities. And so a lot of your atheistic slams on Christians, well, you believe in things you can't see. Well, then so do you if you're that type of atheist, because you're allowing some rather strange furniture into the atheistic worldview.
Well, that was my other question when I pointed out to an atheist. He didn't understand when I said, well, are you a materialist? Because I was trying to point out to him he was arguing from free will, that he didn't want to be a Christian because he wanted to have free will. And I was trying to explain to him, well, if you're a materialist, you don't have free will. It's an illusion because you're basically a slave of biological determinism.
Yeah. If I had a cold or got the flu, you wouldn't say, well, we were supposed to film how evil that was that you freely chose to get sick. Well, no, you would say, well, he couldn't help it. It was biologically determined. Something physical happened in his body. He had no say over it. My poor Christian brother has the flu. We can't film today. You wouldn't hold me accountable. But if consistent atheism is materialistic, only matter exists. And so consistent atheism, when people make choices, okay, a choice, an idea, a choice that is made, an act of the will, if that's only a chemical reaction that occurs inside someone's brain, then we cannot condemn murderers for their actions because they didn't freely choose to do it. We cannot hold them responsible. So if atheism is true, we ought to empty out the prisons because the people that are in the prisons just did what they biologically had to do because of the chemical reactions going on in their brain. Now, if we have a non-material soul where we make choices and then those choices act upon the brain and act upon our bodies, then you can hold people responsible. So when atheists put people in prison and want to see people in prison, they're acting as if Christianity is true.